The threat number does change, Skip. It was at a 5.5 yesterday. It's at a 5.75.
I knew you was going to do something
It's at
stupid.
a 5 point as far as a threat to the Celtics.
Okay.
I mean, I like what the Knicks are doing, though. You know, they're establishing themselves. You know, what teams usually do? When one team's win it, they try to counter by emulating the team or countering the team to prepare to beat that team. And I think that's what the Knicks are trying to do because they're added some pretty good defensive pieces. Of course, I think the key piece was re-signing Anunoby. As we all know, they were one of the best teams in the league when he came over after the trade and was starting. So they took that into account when signing him to this mega deal because you say, wow, he's not even probably going to be second or third option on offense because once you bring Randle back, Mikal Bridges is a 20-point scorer. He'll probably be their fourth option to get this kind of money, but that's not what he's bringing to the table. Offense, you know, he can knock down threes. This is a defense. And they're gearing up to play against the Celtics, so because that's what everybody does. They brought in the defensive talent, but I just don't know if they're quite ready yet. You know, I like what they're doing. I still think they're in the same level as Indiana, Philly. You know, who knows what's going to happen in Miami. Miami has constructed with a healthy Jimmy Butler. You can never count them out. Milwaukee, a healthy Milwaukee team with the Greek Freak, who is still a top 5 MVP caliber player, along with Dame Lillard. So I still got them in those group, in that tier, but, you know, it really, solidifies them in the East as more likely a top 4 team, 100%. But as far as a super threat, I'm not sure they're there yet.
Yeah, threat. It was a 7 yesterday. It stays at a 7 for me today because I felt like they was going to sign him anyway. I mean, he just was doing the opted in and out and all that for the money. It was a money play. That's what guys do. You know, they want to maximize. Man, what would you if you were playing right now, Paul? He got 212 and you call him the fourth option. What would you get?
Whatever the max is. Whatever that max is.
Whatever the max is. Okay.
Three something.
Oh, well, you might want to go work out a little bit and see if you can get there. But Skip,
I got coach's money now.
So Skip, when you look at it, they go get Mikal Bridges, they pass on the Paul George trade, they decide, okay, OG's our guy, we're gonna give him the money. Julius Randle gonna come back. Plus, we got the other 3 Villanova Wildcats. They got a little more depth. They got longer on the wings. They got bigger on the wing side of things.
Yep.
So they got to obviously, from a defensive standpoint, they know that what Boston likes to do. It's all a counter, like Paul is saying, to what the Celtics are. We're going to counter that because we feel like these other teams within our conference we can play with. We're okay. Now, it'll be interesting to see if they can keep the center. How you say his name, Skip?
Hartenstein. I don't think they will.
It'll be interesting to see, though.
He played his way into some money.
Some more money, even though they may have some cap space to get it done.
Yesterday's price is not today's price for that kid.
That may be true, but so when you start to look at Miami, Cleveland, Milwaukee, the Sixers may still be in play to pick up Paul George in a trade. Outside of that, everybody else going to stay the same. Miami may try to do something, depending on whether or not Jimmy Butler gets what he's looking for. But for the most part, I believe that they closed the gap to some degree on Boston, but not to the point where they all of a sudden going to be the 1 seed. They still going to be 2, 3, 4 within the conference.
Yeah.
I'm with you, which is why my threat number is so low. I was a 2 yesterday, and I can't go above a 2. And I'll tell you why. Anunoby is a really good NBA player, but he's not a star. Not in my eyes, a star. If, let's just say, they had decided, OG, thank you, but no thank you, and let him go, and they'd gone after Paul George and landed him. I'm not the biggest Paul George fan, but he's a star to me. In my eyes, he has star quality. He might not be a 1, but he's a 1A star. Opposite Kawhi with the Clippers. And we're going to talk about Paul in just a few minutes. But the point is, Paul George can do things on the basketball court that are special to me, where I say, oh, you know, like you can't find that. That doesn't grow on Southern California palm trees, right? And yet, Mikal Bridges, he's a great kid. He plays hard. He's an Iron Man. He plays every game. But is he a star? I don't see star impact. So both these guys, Anunoby's going to play at 27, Mikal at 28 this next year. Not bad. They're in the heart of their prime, so I give you that. But they've each made one all-defense team, just one, and no all-star teams. And Anunoby, when he made the all-defense team, did lead the league in steals. So I'm going to give you that because, to your point, you got long wing defenders. Good. So you upgraded a little bit. But I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I'm talking about we went back and forth all through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who's the more valuable player? Well, you know what? I kept telling you, it's really a great problem to have. It's hard for you to take a stand on it because you love both of them. And so after a while, you're like, I don't even care. I got them both, right?
Yeah, I know.
You got them both.
Just, nothing is intimidating, Skip, by having a bunch of role players, which the Knicks have.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in order to win in this league, you have to have some type of superstar power.
I mean, Jalen Brunson's not a role player, but...
No. Jalen Brunson has established himself as a superstar in this league. Yes.
I guess, but the problem is he's a 6 foot tall superstar, and so it limits his ceiling, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And I truly believe, and I said this for many, many years, if your point guard is your best player, I don't think you can win a championship.
Look,
I don't.
You know the NBA, you played in it, you know it way better than both me and Skip because you played as a player. But the odds makers seem to think they closed the gap. Yeah. They went from the bottom to third, as the odds makers say, in winning it. They got the Celtics, they got the Nuggets, and now all of a sudden they got the Knicks since the trade with Bridges and the signing of OG, which just happened last night.
I hear you.
I hear what you're saying, and you're saying about small guard play and not having a major Paul Pierce at your disposal on the floor. They got Jalen Brunson. But everybody else, if you play together as a unit, as a team, may be just enough if they slip and fall with a hiccup.
I hear you. But does Jalen Brunson make everybody better around him?
That's what I'm saying.
Not
That's
at all.
the one problem.
He is the most ball-dominant guard in the league. He led the whole league in usage rate. Beyond Luka, beyond Trey, beyond all the high...
In the regular season?
Yeah.
So that's what bothers me, Skip, about the Knicks, and that's why it's hard for me to say that they've gotten there yet, because when you look, I look at the chemistry part of it. How does he mix in with these other guys? Because I think, you know, Anunoby, you know, he could be pretty much a catch-and-shoot guy, slasher, that type, but when you talk about Bridges and you talk about Julius Randle, these guys are 20-point scorers. So how do you implement what Brunson does to what they do also? And then DiVincenzo, he took a step up last year. Josh Hart, he took another step up last year. So how do you implement a guard with high usage rate into all of this? You know, Brunson can pass, but he's not considered an assist guard.
No.
And so that's the one thing they're going to have to figure out is how do they get the most out of all the talent they got. Now, on paper, they look pretty good with a bunch of these guys who are really solid contributors. I mean, I'm talking about top to bottom. You can go even as far as McBride. You know, he's legitimate. You know, a guy that can come in and knock down some shots. So how do you implement what Brunson's able to do to what you got over here? Now, if he's able to take a step back and say, hey, I got to kind of change on the dribble around the pick and roll and hold it a little bit more to really look to getting off the ball, maybe play at a faster pace, they got something. But if not, they're going to be the same Knicks. That's going to be...
But did they close the gap, though, is really the question.
They're going to be battling Indiana 7 games. They're going to be battling Philadelphia for 7 games.
Why are you giving them 7 and not the Celtics?
Listen, 16-3. We didn't play a lot of 7 games.
Man, everybody got hurt, man. I'm like Skip.
It wasn't a lot of 7-game series.
Miami didn't have a
not even
full
sure
arsenal.
I'm not even
who
sure
did they get
they
at the Miami? Cleveland didn't have a full arsenal, and neither did Indy.
Hey, we didn't have a full arsenal.
Y'all had everybody.
No, we missed Porzingis.
Celtics.
All right, so if the Knicks get Julius Randle back fully healthy, that's a big piece because he's a big physical presence. So
are you saying they're going to start Julius at the 4 or 5? That's the big question right there. Now, you signed
Mitchell
Anunoby.
Robinson is their backup center, so I assume he's going to start.
Mitchell Robinson is going to start. So you go Mitchell Robinson at the 5, Julius Randle.
You do.
And then you go Anunoby at the 3.
Yes.
With Mikal Bridges at the 2, Brunson.
Yep. and Josh Hart has got to
then
be
you
the
bring Josh
sixth
Hart
man.
and
DiVincenzo off, McBride.
and McBride.
Okay.
So you got that depth that you were
they
worried
got
about.
They got some depth.
Now they 8 deep.
And you got Alec Burke. Is he still there? Is he a free agent? I mean, they've been had some depth. They just Tibbs don't know how to. He didn't use it.
Yeah.
I think so. Does he run these guys into the ground? Does he have to? No, not anymore.
No.
Now he got some guys at his disposal to where he can kind of spread the wealth out. So it's a good move. It's a good move, but I don't think it really.
It is the all-time desperate all-in move.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of what Jerry Jones said. Jerry Jones said, "We're all in." This is all in, over the edge, all in.
Did they spend too much money getting this whole nucleus of 4 Villanova guys together? Money and draft picks?
Yeah, by the way, I like the 4 Nova guys. I like the concept of that because they're Nova tough and they love each other and they played with each other.
I mean, you pretty much mortgaged your whole future.
But you mortgage you did this year. We are going for it right here, right now. And I don't see enough star power. You need one superstar.
You do.
Yeah, one.
Like, I don't know if it's Brunson, do you consider him a superstar?
Yeah.
Or did he play like a superstar?
Okay. I
Well,
look
if you
at
play like a superstar, you're a superstar, right?
You know, there's like, I think after you have to show like over a number of years, you know, because there's guys that had
he's been
superstar year, then is he
He was
actually
in the shadow of Luka in Dallas.
He was.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the Knicks, and he's been cooking pretty much ever since he's been with the Knicks.
Sure.
In the solo act.
So I know it looks good on
himself.
paper. I know the odds makers are saying, "Whoa, hold on now." But I think of 2008 Boston Celtics, and I think of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
I mean,
and Ray Allen is not what I would call a superstar, but he's a star. He's Ray Allen. He's a star.
Ray Allen was wicked in Milwaukee.
But that's what we're saying about the Knicks. They don't present that like they're not coming in with that.
Everybody ain't getting no KG and Paul Pierce.
But I'm saying like for the odds maker to say, oh, they're number 2 as far as
three in odds.
No, I saw number 2. They tied with Denver.
No, they plus 850 on my list.
It went up this morning.
Oh, it did?
It went up this morning.
Yeah, but y'all still plus 300 to plus 850. That's still a big gap.
Yeah, it'll be very entertaining. It's good for the NBA.
It is.
And I would love to see the Knicks and the Celtics in the playoffs. I would. I really would. I mean, I think it's great for the game because Boston, New York, no matter what sport it is, that's a rivalry. Mm-hmm. That's a rivalry. Baseball, I don't care if it's pickleball, basketball, New York and Boston, that's a rivalry. I love it, though. It's great for the league to get built up this type of excitement for the Knicks.
So, Keyshawn, you're all the way up at would you say, a 7?
Yeah, because you're asking the question of closing the gap, filling a threat. You got them at a 2. That 2 is like they don't have a chance. Skip, that's not true, though.
I don't think they have
Miami
a chance
didn't have
against
a
that team.
No, but Miami didn't have a chance against them either in a play-in and popped them. So I
you know why?
We're not talking
you know
about...
why? Because Jimmy Butler is a star. He is a difference, especially playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, playoff Jimmy.
Hey, he's just a star. He's a superstar.
And I factor in looking at they fell apart. Okay, they started falling like flies. OG got hurt, then it was just like Randle was hurt, then Bronson was in and out, hurt, and then eventually he just decided to just check all the way out.
They gotta stay
so I started looking at that, and I'm putting it based on if, as Paul would say, if they stay healthy throughout the course, and I'm taking out the Tibbs, running them in the ground scenario. I'm getting rid of all that because they run 8 deep now. So to me, it's like a 7. But doesn't mean they're going to catch them. They just close the gap. Because Milwaukee might pop them.
Yeah.
Or Philly might pop them.
Would you say the Knicks out of the East, you're saying the Knicks are the biggest threat? Do you believe that?
As it stands right now, on this day,
Milwaukee, Miami, Indiana.
As it stands right now, today, before they make any free agent changes and all that, they're the biggest threat to Boston.
In the East.
In the East today.
Okay. So I look at Milwaukee and I see Giannis and I say, aha. And I look at Philadelphia and I see Joel and I say, aha.
But see, you give him a healthy Joel.
He was on one leg.
I understand that, but I give the Knicks, if they were healthy, the same thing about Philly. If they were healthy and Joel was healthy, they probably would have popped the Knicks.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case.
Knicks were healthy versus Sixers.
I understand.
Well, no Randle,
but they was healthy and they were healthier, so to speak.
Yeah, even Indiana. Sometimes I think Halliburton's a superstar, and then sometimes I don't.
I
But
would
he can
actually
give you superstar.
You know what? Think
impact.
about this. If I would think Halliburton to be a better fit on the Knicks with this roster than Brunson, because he's a pass first guard and can score. But we'll wait and see how Brunson, because he has a high IQ. Brunson is a smart
Brunson
player.
can go, man. I know
he can go. He's a smart player. I think he will figure it out.
He's itty bitty powerhouse.
Oh, yeah, itty bitty, but he can go.
He's a high IQ.
You saw him getting in the lane.
Hey, he did.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.